There is none. The voting records will be amended accordingly. The House comes to questions for oral answer. Question number 1, in the name of Melissa Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Finance and asks, what is the government doing to ensure the longer-term strength of the New Zealand economy?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, this government is continuing to implement its strong economic plan, focusing on building better public services and infrastructure, steadily reducing net debt as a percentage of GDP, and ensuring the benefits of economic growth are shared with Kiwi families. And the results are paying off. New Zealanders are benefiting from more jobs being created, rising real wages and lifts in exports. But most importantly, we're also restoring resilience to the government's books so that New Zealand can withstand any future shocks that may come along.
Supplementary question.
Supplementary question, Melissa Lee.
Thank you. To the Minister, how is the government ensuring New Zealand companies continue to innovate and develop valuable products over the long term?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, innovation and development of new products and services is a very important part of ensuring a resilient economy. And new data released last week showed a significant jump in the research and development conducted by New Zealand companies. Businesses spent $1.6 billion in the year of 2016, which was a 29% increase from the previous survey 2 years earlier. These figures are tangible evidence that the government's initiative to stimulate businesses to fund their own R&D activities with the help of Callaghan Innovation and the R&D Grants Program is working and working well. In addition, rising research and development in New Zealand is a sign of the confidence businesses have in themselves and in our economy.
Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
Can he confirm that those research and development statistics released last week show that as a percentage of GDP, government spending on research and development went down in the last year?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, I don't have that exact number in front of me, but fortunately I can confirm for the member that the government program known as Innovative New Zealand substantially increases R&D in New Zealand over the next few years. But the important point for the member to note is that the increase in business-funded R&D was from 0.54% of GDP to 0.64% of GDP, which was very significant growth, and actually the largest growth seen for many years.
Supplementary.
Order.
Supplementary.
Order. Supplementary question, Melissa Lee.
To the Minister, what is the government doing to ensure the economic strength he talked about earlier is shared among the regions?
The order. Order. Well, if it's a good question, then we'll hear the answer. The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, last week's regional GDP growth figures demonstrate that most of our regions are growing well, notwithstanding some members talking them down. Through the Regional Growth Program, the government is supporting opportunities in our regions to further boost investment, jobs and incomes. In Northland, for example, the Taitokerau Northland Economic Action Plan contains over 50 actions to support and enable growth. Successes to date include the government commitment of $4 million for the Hunter Vasa Arts Centre, the opening of the Pouheringa Tai Cycle Trail and the supporting of the Taitokerau Resort College in the Bay of Islands. This is on top of our very significant investment in new roads, new bridges and ultra-fast broadband.
Order.
Supplementary.
Order. Order, Mr. Joyce. Supplementary question, David Seymour.
What is the government doing to ensure that this growth is shared with major metropolitan centres such as Auckland?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr. Speaker, let me count the ways. Mr. Speaker, as a resident of that city, or just north of that city myself, I think we've all known in that city that actually it's quite hard to move for all the construction cones that are around the place at the moment. And I think of the southern motorway widening, I think of the Auckland Airport motorway widening, I think of the Waterview tunnels, Mr Speaker, I think of the southwestern motorway, I think of the northern corridor, and that's just the roading projects, Mr Speaker.
Supplementary question. Supplementary.
Order. Supplementary question, Melissa Lee.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Minister, what confidence do businesses have in the strength of the New Zealand economy?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, recent confidence surveys provide further evidence that New Zealand's now nearly 6-year period of stable expansion will continue. In yesterday's quarterly survey of business opinion, businesses reported their own activity outlook remains strong, prompting NZIER to state that annual growth in the New Zealand economy will remain solid around 3% per annum over the coming quarters. And today's ANZ job data shows that the regions continue to lead the charge with more jobs, with every single one of the 11 non-main centre regions experiencing stronger annual job ad growth, and in fact in most regions it's above 15%.
Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
Well, in light of his reference to yesterday's NZIER quarterly survey of business opinion, can he confirm that it shows a net drop in business confidence?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, yes, and I bring news to the member that actually confidence does vary month to month and quarter by quarter. But I am pleased to report to him that NZIER refers to a, and I quote, modest drop in business confidence. A net 16% of businesses expect better economic conditions, and businesses report their own activity holding firm, suggesting annual growth in the New Zealand economy will remain solid around 3% over the coming quarters. But Mr Robertson's absolutely entitled to continue with his train spotting.
Question number 2, Right Honourable Winston.